Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the BFFFL Matchup Preview Show. Let's get it, dude. Thank you, that's right. We are back here with the Week 9 Matchup Preview Show in the fantasy baseball world known as the BFFL with your host, Thrills Alexander. Now, last week there was no matchup preview video, so you might have been thinking, well, Thrills finally took an L, so he's taking an L when it comes to posting the video. Sadly, that is incorrect. Even in my defeats, I still try to be punctual and on time with my videos, but last week I just felt, meh. I'll get to it when I get to it, and before I knew it, it was Friday afternoon, and at that point in time, most of the matchup preview shows had already been previewed and shown, so there was no need for one of those right there. Plus, when I'm in Jacksonville and Cody's in Douglasville, that's kind of a bummer right there. So, Code Nobes, we'll catch you next time, brother. All right, so first of all, I hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. As you can see, I'm still rocking the USA Pride shirt right there, courtesy of one of my 5th grade students this year. Gotta say, they have wonderful taste, if I do say so myself. Now, as you can see, our arena, our studio has gone on the road. We have gone from the basement bathway, I guess you could call it, to the screened-in porch with Savdog, to the school setting with Thrills. And as you can see, my voice and my demeanor have greatly changed. Must keep it the utmost professionality here in case someone were to walk in and wonder, why are we paying a teacher to make baseball videos for the fantasy world when they should be getting ready for summer school? And to that I say, I kicked the GMAS ass, so I must be doing something right. So let's get into our first matchup of the week. Last week, in my mind, I was 6-0 in my predictions, so we're just going to go ahead and write down that in reality, I was also 6-0. And this week, I presume will be the same thing. Our first matchup of the week. Let's just go ahead and get the Doldrum matchup out of the way. The good old 12 versus, 10. The old 12-10 matchup. 1,000 Hertz versus Drank Thomas. Benson Bedell penned a wonderful piece for the Cup of Joe this past Sunday evening, talking about, well, his team in general, karma, the Snead curse. And I've got to say, I actually am believing that some of those might be coming into play right now. Never have I been in a league, and Benson and I have been in leagues together for roughly 10 years now, and I've never seen something this atrocious, this kind of atrocity coming from a team that he's managed. But I think that Sunday pretty much epitomized the direction that his team might be heading the rest of the year. Coming into Sunday with a tremendous lead in most offensive categories. To only see one estranged, a.k.a. Middleborough Harbor, Alex, just crush it on Sunday to the tune of 28 total bases, 4 home runs, and 11 RBIs, while Ben, on the other hand, rocked a measly 8 total bases. I would have been in the same predicament as Ben, thinking, well, I can have a bad day, and I still don't foresee myself losing 20 total bases, but indeed it did happen. And there's really not much left to be said about this squad that Ben hasn't already penned, that I haven't stated in weeks prior to, other than to say the squad is decent everywhere, but right now it's not good enough anywhere. So Ben, I don't know if you should go offensive heavy and dump your pitchers, if you should go pitching heavy and dump any quality offense you have, but I should really be seeing a trade being made at some point, Bedell. I mean, you can go to the waiver wire and pick through trash all day long, but that's all that it is. It's on the waiver wire for a reason. It's pure ass trash. So you got to make a deal, man. You're going to have to make a trade to get off the schneid, because the man you're playing against, Code knows, his team's been down. He's still trying to make trades, still trying to improve his squad, and he has improved it to the tune of 2 wins this year and 8 opportunities. So a 250 winning percentage, not bad right there in comparison to you. When you look at this team, I love looking at the Code Note squad because it harkens back to the days of 2015, 2016, when every team out there had nada on the bench and 5 to 7 extra pitchers on their bench. And Cody Nobes, the 45 inning pitch rule was made for the likes of you. Get yourself that victory every week. Chalk up a point that Cody Nobles is going to have the most innings pitched in his matchup of the week. Oh, look at that right there. Billy Baseball, Chicago Cubby action, Javi Baez. Or maybe we should use that to talk about Wanderbat here in just a moment. Let's not digress, though, from Cody Nobles and the respect that he's deserved. Last month, offensively, you had 7 players in the top 76. That is fucking awesome. That is what every team should strive for. On a month, every 30 days, I should be able to look there, see so many players in the top 100. Offense, not giving you any issues right now. The pitching staff, you've got 2 pitchers in the top 150 in the last month. That's cringeworthy right there. Because to be a pitcher in the top 150, you got to have a high K per 9, decent ERA, decent whip. So that's telling me Code knows right now you have 2 pitchers that are rocking out decent numbers right now. If you don't get that fixed, the chances of you being able to help your offense with Acuna and KB, it's going down the drain, bro. It's going down the drain. I'd like to see, you're not in my division. I'd like to see you can try to make a playoff run here, catch up to that 6th seed. We're already not, this is our 9th week, guys. There's only 21 weeks before the playoffs start, so we're almost halfway home already. And those teams sitting below 4 wins at the halfway point, unless we all decide to make this a keeper league or a dynasty league, as we've talked about years and years and years, Cody Nopes, I don't know if you're going to be able to make the playoffs unless I see something crazy happen right there. But I am going to see you pick up a dub this week over 1,000 hertz. But Dell, I can't pick you to win until I actually see you win. So when that day comes, I'm looking for a reason to pick you to win. I want it to happen, bro. I want it to happen. But this week, it's a Code Nopes week right there. All right, so let's go from Cody Nobles and Bedell to the man that beat Bedell on that Sunday afternoon. We're talking about Estranged versus Wanderbat right there. Now, Estranged, losing back-to-back weeks. You go back and look at A-Harp's schedule. He lost back-to-back weeks to Billy and Anthony, and those are 2 fellows in his own division. Since then, he's reeled off 3 straight dubs. Now, granted, those dubs have come against Ben, Ryan, so the 11th and 12th place teams, but they've also come against the number 1 team at that point in time and the number 1 team at this present moment in time, Basington Balls. So Alex is definitely capable of beating the dredge of the league, beating the upper echelon of the league on a consistent basis. And one of the reasons he's doing that this past month, 4 players in the top 10. 4 in the top 10 in the past month. He's got 40% of them on 1 team. You might not even be able to think who they are. Marcus Semien, Nick Castellanos, as we've said for years. Kyle, don't confuse me with Preston Tucker, and the namesake of all namesakes, the gas can, Kevin Gausman. Let's just, A-Harp, you stuck with that man for years. Said he was going to be great, and he finally is coming through, finally looking like the stud we thought he was going to be, and I know if anybody's happy, it's got to be you. Baltimore to Atlanta to San Fran. Dude, he's rocking in San Fran. That's your squad right there. I know you're stoked about that. Wanderbat doesn't really have a lot to be stoked about recently. His name's getting crushed in the Monday Morning Cup of Joe. Avoid the Noid is more like avoid the win. He's not doing much trading-wise. He looks at his team. Oh, this guy crapped out in 2 weeks. Let me go ahead and drop him. And you might look at his next day. It might be Ronald Acuna. All right? So the way B Green looks at stats is way different than the way most of us are looking at stats here. And the Wanderbat. Now, Anthony did say Thrills has already tried that. But Thrills tried Wonderbat. Okay? Not Wanderbat. Now, that's your Wander Franco. So I'm not near as creative as B Green is right there. So Wanderbat. Roflo, he's agreeing with me right now as we speak. Now, Wanderbat, I might have been ripping your offense because in the past month you've got 2 players in the top 78 offensively, and then the rest of your players kind of look like this: 289, 326, 423, 812, 854, 970, 968. That's gross. That is disgusting. That's what you have. But on your pitching staff, you've got 7 motherfuckers in the top 90 in the past month. That's good. Do something with those right now while they're hot. Trade them. Don't think that they're just going to keep rocking and rolling. You can only win saves by so many. Like you and Billy are getting 8 to 10 saves a week. Most of the time, you just need 4 to 5. Dump on them bastards and get yourself some offense. That just makes sense to me. I don't know. But if the offense doesn't improve, it doesn't matter how strong your relievers are and how subtle they are. Josh Hader, Aroldis, they can only do so much for a squad right there. Will the name change help you? I highly doubt it. And that's why I'm going with Estranged this week to pick up the dub and keep his trend going of I'm done losing. It's time for me to keep kicking dingles and picking up dubs. Because in that division, he's third place at 5-3 behind 6-1-1, 6-1-1. 5-3 right now. That's looking like a solid playoff spot at this point in time. Only time will tell, though, if he can make the playoffs. All right. And let's just go ahead right now. Let's get that last Harbor Bro matchup out of the way. Mark DeRosa, what you got to say? Congrats? Oh, well, he's already saying that my pick is right. Congrats is indeed in order for one of these teams this week. Corporal Hicks versus Canna Get a Witness. Now, we all know why Rymart had to change names. When you are mixing it up right there, but you're using a cast in your fist to mix up your wife's face, then I'm going to have some problems. And I'm glad that Rymart decided, you know what? I don't need any affiliation with Marcelo Zuna right now. And, I mean, prior to this, did we really want any affiliation with that 213 bum of an arm right fielder for the Braves? Probably not. So let's get talking about you. Can I get a witness? What is there to say when a man is just pleading for a tie? I mean, pissed off he couldn't even get a tie last week against Billy due to a last-moment stat correction. That's where we're at in this world. That lets you know how shit-tastic the year must be. Like, damn, I couldn't even get a tie. And the offense hasn't seemingly been the problem, although if you're consistently batting like 198 each week and claiming you're running into buzzsaws, I am going to have some issues with that. But you don't have a batting average higher than my weight, but you're still hitting dingers. You still got a good OPS. You've still got good RBIs. So, I mean, the numbers are there. You are playing like a modern-day 2021 Adam Dunn. That's what your team. You might as well change your team name to Big Donkey because he is what your team is. Batting 200, smacking 1,000 dingers, and striking out a shitload too. All right. What I would recommend for your squad, go out to San Fran, find Tyler Rogers. Teach him. All right, so Tyler, this is what he does, guys, and he's getting these mugs out without striking them out. You all need to sidearm, submarine. Just dip it in there, boys. Just dip it in there because it's working for Tyrod. I think, not Tyrod Taylor, Ty Rogers. I think it work out for other players on your team as well. Just give those hitters and pitchers a chance. More like give your pitchers a chance to get some of those guys out. All right, now, Corporal Dwayne Hicks. Rymart's already changed his name. I think you should go ahead and do the same right there. I would really change my team name to Wasted Money because that's all Yelich has been, that's all Rendon's been, and that's all Conforto's been are just wasted dollars for your squad right there. Yelich, my back hurts. Anthony Rendon, his game of baseball right now sucks. You're a free agent, you go to Anaheim, cool, collect your cash because as far as being relevant in the fantasy world and the real world, your time has come. Conforto, I mean, what is there to say about him? You look at him, you're like, oh, man, he's going to be awesome this year. No, I'm hurt. I can't get a hit. I'm shit. I'm too close to Francisco Lindor, and his trashiness is rubbing off on me. I don't know. I almost put Buxton in this lump, but everybody pretty much knew Bucks was going to get hurt this year. You were just lucky enough to ride those 4 to 5 weeks of when he was just the man we all thought he was going to be when he came up at the age of 21 in 1999. Staff outside of the K machine, underperforming. But we can all say, thank God that you own the X-Man and Teoscar the Grouch. Because without those guys, without Casey Mize, think about that for a second, D-Harb. You are actually looking at the baseball gods saying, man, I'm happy I have Casey Mize on my team. That flat out sucks to have to say that. So even though it sucks that you have to rely on Casey Mize, I still think you're going to be reliable enough to pick up a dub over Canna Get a Witness this week. So Corporal Dwayne Hicks, I'm picking you for the dub. And while we reach our halfway point, let's intermission here. Check out this 24-ounce can as I hold it in my hand. That's right, my hand is huge, and so is my ego. Mountain Dew, the nectar of the gods. Back to our matchups here. The former number 1 team in the league for all of one whopping week, Mr. Pickles, going against Walker, Texas Ranger. Now, Walker, you've got a team built after BJG's own heart right there. 2 good batters, the rest of them barely worth owning. You got 2 dudes in the top 100. After that, you're looking at the goalies of the world at 265. Maybe it's What other bums? I can't even remember the players on his team right now. Omar Navarez. Yep. Belly. Belly's not going to be good, man. All right? We can look at Cody Bellinger's face and just tell he's stoned out of his mind 24/7 nowadays, which would in turn make him one of my favorite players in the league now. I just got to say. I'll take Belly off your hands if you don't want him. Just shoot me a trade offer because, we'll call it the smoke show or something over there. Not one player on your team has an OPS over 825 in the last 30 days. That's embarrassing, dude. Not one over 825. Jay Cronenworth is your best offensive player right now. And you've got Trey Turner on that team, Yastrzemski, Blackman, Bellinger. But then you look down, you got Eduardo Escobars. You've got David Fletchers, Alec Baum, Lourdes Gurriel. Guys that are not producing this year. Dump them bitches. Get rid of them. I mean, you're still rocking Dallas Keuchel on your team. This isn't 2005 when strikeouts, if you get 6 strikeouts in 9 innings, you're doing good. You need 6 strikeouts in 3 innings this year to be good. All right? I mean, just look at these pictures. Oh, my God, there's a swing and a hit and a home run by Javi Baez right there. Big Green just got an insta boner. All right, so staff-wise, all I got to say is less said the better about this. Rydwalk, I still like you as a person. I think this team is complete, utter garbage, and I'm hoping next year when you draft your team for real, it'll make a difference because I've seen it in the other league. I'd like to see it now. And you're somebody like Bang. Dude, your team is bad. You don't have a chance of making the playoffs. You got to try to make some moves. You got to try to make some moves. And it doesn't mean, just dump your good players to one of the elite teams in the league. No, try to do something, though. Just sitting back, waiver wire, spot starting. It can only go so far. It can only go so far. Mr. Pickles, on the other hand, you're doing things the right way this year. All right? You're looking at your team. You're understanding, hey, I might say anybody want a panic trade, but you're not actually making that panic trade yet. You're making well-thought-out deals to help increase the quality of your team. And I enjoy that. Just like I enjoyed beating you last week in the 1-2 matchup. Okay, you got Winker. You got Devers. You got cancer-crushing Mancini just leading your offense right now. If your pitchers could strike out more than a third of a batter an inning, that would benefit you. You can't just rely on the Adam Savales and the Pablo Lopez's and the Max Frieds, the guys that aren't K machines. You got to have 1 or 2 guys that are just coming in there just firing the heat. Look at that Brandon Woodruff action right there. That's painful. That hurts me right there looking at that. All right, but other than that, I got to say, if you can acquire an ace, a shutdown ace, not a, Tyler Mahle type ace, but a DeGrom, a Gausman, somebody from Aharb's team. Just pick one of his pitchers. They're all aces. Go to Savdog's team. Pick one of those pitchers. They're all aces. There are no more in the league. But you pick up one of those guys, Pickles, I think you can make a run for the chip this year. And I think you're definitely going to make a run for the dub this week. And you're going to beat Walker, Texas Ranger. All right, we got 2 matchups left. Both of them entail teams with only 1 loss. First, let's start off with Wood Boogers versus the Nada Army. You look at Billy's team, I just got to say, Jesus. Man, another squad with 3 stud batters in the last 30 days. That's what I'm looking at. Last month. We've all got our chance to warm up, get rid of those first 4 weeks of the year. Let's look at the last 4 weeks. What are players doing? And on Billy's team, they're ripping some dingles. All right? But you got 7 dudes in that squad that are barely better than Flash Hamlin right now. All right? We know that man goes out there and knocks dingers off Tom Glavine left and right. We got 7 dudes in your squad that couldn't hit a Tom Glavine 76-mile-an-hour changeup on the inner half of the plate out of the infield right now, Billy. I don't know what to tell you about that. But when your staff is manned by 7 fuggers in the top 73, I mean, you really could just make your offense revolve around the guys in the BFFL, and you'd still stand a chance to tie each week because your pitchers are just that good. If you could somehow swap one of those aces like Bauer or Musgrove or Nola, if you wanted to come off one of those guys and get an offensive bat in the outfield specifically, your squad could go even further, and you'd be one of those teams right there in the top 4, just like you are now, with a chance to win the title. Maybe you could even beat the team that won the title in our last full season, and that's who you're going up against this week. Nada Army, the Sav Dog. Now, looking at his squad, you're like, just painful. I mean, look at that face right there. That's the face I get when I look like a Robert De Niro, like, that kind of face right there. When I look at his squad, it's just so ugly. But then you pop the hood, look at those numbers, and you look at Chris Taylor, 17th ranked player in the last 4 weeks or 1 month. You got Randy Arozarena looking like it's the World Series every day of the week now. And you've got the man leading the MLB in hits. And most of us probably don't know. I mean, obviously I know because all I do is look at our teams day in and day out, every day of the week. Adam Frazier, the Frage dog, looking like Sean Casey circa 2005. I'm not hitting for pop. I'm getting on base. I'm wrapping some singles and doubles out here, and I'm moving around. And I'm hoping that Jacob Stallings or Keith Newman or Key Brian Hayes, when he gets off the DL, can actually make contact with the baseball and drive me in. Your Uber Pro, Jared Klinick, he's looking like he's close to being an Uber driver right now because his numbers have been god-awful. 8 for 68, OPS of 444. Sure, he hit a home run in his second game of the season, but what has he done since then? Do you give him time? Do you let him work through those issues, Savdog? Or do you need to go ahead and start jumping around and looking, drop him and picking up somebody off the waiver wire? I can't tell you what to do. I know you'll make a good decision right there. But I'm never going to disparage a team that's built around Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole, Clayton Kershaw, Young Ryu. All right? Like, those guys are bona fide beasts. All of them Cy Young winners. All of them potential Cy Young winners this year. Ryu on a little bit on the outside looking in. Clayco, never really know about him if he's just the Dodger. Like Clayton, we'll see in October. Just chill out for a while. Pretend you have an injury, oblique strain or something like that. So I don't know what to say about that. But what I do know when I look at Savdog, I see a trend. Win-win, lost tie. Win-win, lost tie. Billy, I got some bad news for you. He had a tie last week, which can only mean one thing's going to happen this week. Not Army starts that trend back over, starts that pattern back over. Ties, always followed by wins, which means Not Army is winning this week. There you go, Savdog, 5-2-2. Last matchup of the week, Basington Ball versus Ball Don't Lie. Now, Anthony, once again, great name change this week. And once again, thrills. You're in a 1 versus 2 matchup. What are you going to do? Are you going to come out on top again? Or will you be bested like you were 2 weeks ago by Estranged? Basington Ball, you're a team running a collection of hot bats right now. I mean, you look at your team every other couple days. You know Vlad and J.D. Martinez are doing something, but maybe Altuve is going to carry your team this week. Maybe Machado's shoulder is finally going to become reattached to his body, and he's going to be able to do something. I'm not sure. I would like it if Jax could come around and just give him his arm, so that way Machado could quit bitching out and having to sit out of the lineup 5 days without going on the DL. Staff getting better weekly, but I mean, then again, the staff started so poorly this year, there's nowhere for it to go but up. All right, when you're sitting at a 5 ERA for the first 3 weeks of the year, eventually somebody's going to figure out how to throw a strike and strike somebody out, get some guys out, and that's what's happening right now. The team is finally starting to pitch, and you've got 6 dudes with an OPS over 825 in the last month. Now, contrast that with Rywalk, who I mentioned earlier, had 0 dudes over 825 in the last month. That shows the discrepancy between a top team and a bottom team right there. Now, looking at over there, our Big Ant squad. Big Ant might be a big problem this week. Lucas Giolito pitching like he did last year. Lance Lynn just doing bulldog-type things, all right? He's the new bulldog out there on the mound. Like, I love looking Lance Lynn. Love watching him pitch. I apologize for the interruption, but once again, when you're working in a school, people are going to come in and ask you questions when you're the team leader right there. That's right. Thurls Alexander, team leader, 5th grade at Winston. Be scared. Be very scared. Something not to be scared about, though. Anybody that Anthony is playing, because Anthony's just whooping those dudes week in, week out, living up his name. FTJ, best player on planet Earth right now, probably on planet Mars, planet Venus, and planet Jupiter as well. Austin Riles, looking like maybe we shouldn't trade him for Chris Bryant because they're giving us the same production. Maybe we shouldn't trade him for Nick Castellanos. Or maybe the Braves are like, look, this is the best he's going to be. Go ahead and trade him now, bring in KB, and we'll pay KB $15 million a year next year. Does that sound like a Braves thing, though? It doesn't. It doesn't. So, Riles, we're glad you're here in Atlanta. We're glad you're playing like the prospect we always heard about and knew you were going to be. Anthony, though, the problem comes in. How are you going to replace the early season studliness of Matt Boyd and Anthony DeScalfini? Because recently, they're pitched to an ERA of about 4.5, 5 right now, rather than that like 2-1 ERA they were at the beginning of the year. With your lack of pitching depth, how are you going to compensate for that? That's what I want to know. I don't really care how you compensate for it after this week, but this week I do care. And this week I got to say, I see Basington Ball pulling out another dub over a top seed and continue his ascent, or continuing to sit atop of the BFFL fantasy rankings. All right, so for this week, we've seen Drank Thomas, Estranged, Corporal Hicks, Mr. Pickles, Nada Army, and Bastington Ball picking up the dub right there. I expect nothing to change. I expect my predictions to be 100% accurate, just like they are every single week. If you guys have anything to add, hit it to it on the Slack board. Otherwise, I'll see you next week for Thrills Alexander and the BFFL Matchup Preview Show. We'll see you later.